Good afternoon. Here is news around the world on Pensioners 106.7 FM, Agbarigo, Onireke Ibadan. I am LAOLU, OLATUNBOSUN. First, the top stories. Buhari recommits some office, vows to tackle infrastructure deficit. British troops assist in moving critically endangered black rhinos from South Africa to Malawi. Death toll of powerful Christmas typhoon in Philippines hits at least 10. And in sports, Crystal Palace hold talks with Nigeria and club Brugge Emmanuel Dennis over possible move to England. Now the news in full. President Muhammadu Buhari has recommitted to his oaths of office to lead honestly and to use the nation's resources judiciously for the benefit of Nigerians. The president said this when the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Bello, led residents of the city on Christmas homage on him at the State House. He thanked Nigerians for their support while promising to deploy resources to fix the nation's infrastructural deficit. Others on the delegation included heads of security agencies, politicians, traditional and religious leaders. The federal government has again ordered the redeployment of 676 top civil servants across ministries, departments and agencies. The latest redeployment came about the same time that the government redeployed 107 directors, deputy directors and assistant directors at salary grade levels 15 to 17. Those affected in the latest mass redeployment are government officials at salary grade levels 7 to 14. Majority of those redeployed were moved to fill vacancies created in their new stations, either because of promotion or retirement of former holders of the positions, while some others were redeployed based on requests or to serve as deputies to some officials. Today is Boxing Day, a day celebrated the day after Christmas Day. It was originated in the United Kingdom and celebrated in a number of countries. Although it has become another public holiday in countries such as the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand and Nigeria, tracing it back to the Middle Ages, it was the duty when the alms box collection boxes for the poor kept in churches were traditionally opened so that the contents could be distributed to poor people. Some churches still open these boxes on Boxing Day till date. It was also the day when rich landowners would give gifts, often some leftover food from the main Christmas feast, to those who worked and lived on their land. And later on, it became traditional that servants got the day off to celebrate Christmas with their families on Boxing Day. Many Nigerians are seizing the opportunity of the day to have a good time with families and friends at homes, parks and gardens. Most Nigerians jokingly refer to Boxing Day as a day when people engaged in the contact sport called boxing, but that position is easily downplayed. Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State has urged the federal government to review its decision to give African travelers visas on arrival in the country with effect from January next year. Otom, in a statement issued by his Chief Press Secretary Teva Akase, said the decision meant that Africans wishing to travel to Nigeria could freely do so whenever they desired. The governor said, as popular as the policy might sound, it portends danger ahead as Nigeria will soon turn to a safe haven for persons with questionable character, such as terrorists and other criminals who would come into the country without hindrance. Autumn appealed to Buhari to reconsider the decision in the overall interests of the nation. Suspected Islamist militants have killed 35 civilians, 31 of them women, in an attack on a military base and a town in Burkina Faso. They say 7 soldiers and 80 militants were also killed as the army repelled Tuesday's attack in Arbinda in northern Som province. President Roch Marc Christian Kabore declared 2 days of national mourning. Jihadist groups have stepped up attacks in Burkina Faso and other West African countries in recent years. Meanwhile, the Pope has prayed for a softening of stony and self-centered hearts to help end injustice in the world in his Christmas Day message. From the Vatican balcony, Pope Francis spoke of walls of indifference being put up to people fleeing hardship in the hope of finding a better life. The Pope prayed for those hit by conflict, natural disasters, and disease listed in several countries. He singled out parts of Africa where Christians had been killed. The Pope urged comfort for those who are persecuted for their religious faith, especially missionaries and members of the faithful who have been kidnapped, and to the victims of attacks by extremist groups, particularly in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Nigeria. British troops have helped to move a group of critically endangered black rhinos from South Africa to Malawi to protect them against poaching. Soldiers from the 2 Battalion Royal Gaha Rifles moved 17 of the animals which are hunted for their hunts in the hope they can be better protected. They were transported by air and road from KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa to Liwonde National Park in Malawi. The troops then spent 3 months training rangers to keep them safe. The Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, MRF, is pulling about $1.1 billion from Bank of Montreal BME Global Asset Management due to poor performance. The pension fund is terminating a portfolio of United States large cap value stocks managed by BMO and plans to oversee the money internally, according to a statement issued on Monday. BMO was listed in an October 31 report by the IMRF among the 5 worst performing portfolios versus benchmarks. The firm was also on the pensions performance manager monitoring list. Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski has said she is disturbed by her party stance before President Donald Trump's impeachment trial. Trump was this month impeached by the Democrat-run House for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. He now faces trial in the Republican-dominated Senate, whose members are supposed to remain impartial. However, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has pledged total coordination with the White House. United States presidential candidate Michael Bloomberg has said that his campaign unknowingly used prison workers to call voters on his behalf. The billionaire Democrat said he had cut ties with a vendor which operates 2 call centers in state jails. Bloomberg said he learned about the company's use of prison labor only after receiving a call from a reporter. He entered the election race with one of the largest ever political advice. At least 10 people have died after a powerful typhoon hit the central Philippines on Christmas Day, with the death toll likely to rise. Typhoon Fanfon, also known as Usula, carried gusts of close to 190 kilometers per hour and made landfall several times across various islands, officials say. Tens of thousands of people were left stranded in ports as they tried to make their way home for Christmas. Fanfon struck close to regions devastated by Typhoon Haiyan in 2013, with more than 6,000 killed in November of that year, making the Philippines' deadliest storm. People across Asia are witnessing an annular solar eclipse, which is also known as a ring of fire. Crowds have gathered to watch the natural phenomenon in a number of countries, including Sri Lanka, Indonesia, India, and Saudi Arabia. In an annular eclipse, the moon covers the center of the sun, giving the appearance of a bright ring. There are usually 2 solar eclipses on Earth every year, and they occur only when the Earth is completely or partially in the moon's shadow. This is Pensioners 106.7 FM. We'll be back with sports and entertainment news. And out to entertainment news, Ali Willis, a Grammy-winning and Emmy-nominated songwriter who helped compose the theme song for the sitcom Friends, has died aged 72. I'll Be There For You, the single she co-wrote for the Rembrandts, became one of the most recognized television theme songs of all times. Willis also co-wrote the Earth, Wind and Fire hits September and Boogie Wonderland, and last year was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. She died of cardiac arrest. And in sports, Brugge, following the outstanding performance for Club Brugge in the Jalapa and Champions League this season, Nigeria Super Eagles winger Emmanuel Dennis may be on his way to the English Premier League. Dennis made his debut for Super Eagles of Nigeria in an international friendly against Ukraine, was outstanding for Brugge in UEFA Champions League this season. The reports coming from England has it that Crystal Palace management are already holding a discussion with Dennis representatives over a possible move to Shellhouse Park this January transfer window. The playmaker hit the headlines recently, and that's of Mesut Ozil, who is enduring another difficult season at Arsenal for speaking out against the Chinese state's treatment of Uyghur Muslims. It was brave stance to take, and in an era when Megan Rapinoe has criticized leading male footballers for not addressing issues of social justice, Ozil and plaudits for raising awareness. However, not only did Arsenal refuse to back him, insisting they are an apolitical organization, he received a backlash from the Chinese media. While the 31-year-old is often fairly criticized for his nonchalance on the pitch, not enough, he said about the kind of man he is off it. Back in June, he made a pledge to pay for 1,000 children to have life-changing operations to celebrate his wedding to actress Armin Glose. To end news around the world, here is a recap of the main stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has recommitted to his oath of office, vowing to tackle the infrastructure deficit in the country. British troops have assisted in moving a group of critically endangered black rhinos from South Africa to Malawi. The death toll of a powerful Christmas typhoon in the Philippines has hit at least 10. And in sports, reports say Crystal Palace are holding talks with Nigeria and Club Brugge's Emmanuel Dennis over a possible move to England. For any information, please reach out to us on 08022237535 or 08120086270, or visit us at Pensioners House, Agbarigo, Onireke, Ibaro. The news editor is Michael Adiemo. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am LAOLU. OLATUNBOSUN. Thanks for listening. Good afternoon and compliments of the season.
Pensioners FM. This is Africa's model.
Lórí ètò wa wákàtí kan pẹ̀lú LAOLU OLATUNBOSUN èyí tá máa mú wá fún yín ní gbogbo ọjọ́bọ̀ láago 4 sí 5 ìrọ̀lẹ́ nínú èyí tí a ti máa ń fi ọ̀rọ̀ wá àwọn ènìyàn pàtàkì láwùjọ wa lẹ́nu wò láti mọ kíni tí wọ́n ti là kọjá léyìí tí ó sọ wọ́n di ohun tí wọ́n dà lónìí ká lè bá rí ẹ̀kọ́ kọ́ nípa ìgbé ayé tiwọn gẹ́gẹ́ bí àwòkọ́.